The Tolino Epos 2 is basically a rebranded Kobo Forma, although it has an Android-driven software interface that's quite different from Kobo and distinctively Tolino. This device has an 8-inch capacitive touchscreen display with a resolution of 1440 by 1920 at 300 ppi. It's using the E Ink and Mobius screen, so it's both flexible and light. Underneath the hood is a Freescale 1 GHz processor. It has 512 MB of RAM and it has 32 gigs of internal storage. It also has a very nice front light system. This is the menu system, so it shows you things like the shop, web browser, settings, my account, or information and help. So the web browser, basic WebKit browser. You can search from Google and visit your favorite websites. This is the settings menu. This is where a lot of the times you would turn Wi-Fi on or off. You can shoot airplane mode on. There's a web browser, settings, my account, information and help. Most of the time you're going to be on the settings menu. This is where you kind of configure the screen refresh settings. What do you want to do it with every 100 page? My recommendation is never, and you rarely see ghosting on this if you're just reading ebooks. There's a little bit of ghosting if you're reading PDFs. There's a left-handed mode, so you can have the screen inverted and this stuff would be on that side, so the gyroscope would be activated. You can also change the physical page turn buttons. So the back button, you can kind of configure it that you want to do forward and not. The reason why you would do this is maybe because you're reading manga and you want the true experience. You can actually select the entire UI of the language here. So English, Germany, Spanish, French, Italian. You can also select dictionaries that you want to do as well. So you can actually download all of these dictionaries here. You can sideload in your own if you want to. There's a little button here. That's where you turn on the glow light on and off. So that's persistent across all the menus. This is basically where you would set up the color temperature settings. By default it's off, but you can actually select the color temperature and dark menus. We'll look at that at a dedicated segment. One of the interesting things here is that you can actually lock your device with a pin lock. So if you want to have your reading and everything like that, so you're not sharing it, it's basically setting up with a passcode, but make sure that you remember the passcode, because once you establish a passcode, there's no way to basically retrieve a failed password. Magnification Mode, which basically makes all the text and everything on a UI bigger. There's a system-wide dark mode, so background black, all text white. It's just not in ebooks, but it's across like the entire system. So this is an ebook. It's a side-loaded ebook, and you can hit the center of the screen here and get a number of options. The first one is basically setting up like the table of contents. You can look at the list of notes that you've set up during the page here. And this is basically the font menu. Now, if you've had a Kobo device before, you notice that this is quite different. There's a lot of advanced options that are not here on the Tolino ecosystem that are on the Kobo e-readers. So you can select different fonts here. There's about 7. There's a slider bar to kind of configure, do you want the text smaller, bigger, how much bigger do you want it? Nice thing about an 8-inch screen is that fills a lot of text. You can change it the line spacing. How much space do you want between, specific words and whatnot? Maybe it helps you read. Text alignment, margins, and then publisher standards. So you can kind of see the way that the publisher sort of wanted you to do it. And then as you can see, we've highlighted the word vary. You can highlight, write a note, look it up in a dictionary, or translate. Let's try highlight. And let's select a block of text, just with the slider bar. It'll highlight it all, and then you could write a note. Here's the, the keyboard if you want to take a look at this. This is the front light and color temperature system of the Tolino Epos. You can see that you can kind of drag the slider bar to change the illumination. There's also a color temperature slider bar. The more that you bring it this way, it's an orangey candlelit color. And the more that you bring it this way, you kind of mute the front lit display. So it's less of a bright white. So they do have an extended brightness feature here. You turn it off, and you can see that the screen light has diminished. It's really noticeable if you do it like this. So it's gone really, really bright. The color temperature actually has an autofocus, basically does it at the time of day of your e-reader. So if you check out the time zone settings in the settings menu and the exact time, it will automatically adjust the color temperature setting based on the time of day. So I can do it here, and it's automatically changed it. So this is a very interesting feature, and it gives a little bit of tips here so you can actually see what the features do. All in all, I do think that the Epos 2 is a great buy. It's around like 250 euros or so, and it's primarily only available in Germany and so on, but you can find these from time to time on Amazon and eBay and things like that. It only really makes sense if you live in one of the countries that Tolino officially supports. If you don't live in any of these countries, like say North America, this is a tremendous e-reader to sideload in your own books. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just get like a Kobo, because then it has the Kobo bookstore and you can shop. If you do live in Germany and the surrounding areas, the fact that you can choose what bookstore you want to do business with, you can do business with the public library system. The front light is tremendous. It's stable and robust if you're just reading ebooks, although it kind of degrades a bit if you're just interested in PDF files. But I recommend the Tolino Epos 2 as a buy.